This week on Erotic Awakening, better blowjobs, cure, and flirt cars.
Welcome to Erotic Awakening, an exploration of all things erotic. If you are offended by adult topics or prohibited by law, we recommend you stop listening right now.
We want to thank our latest patron supporters, Greta
and Victoria.
Thank you so much. Your support keeps us going.
Welcome, welcome. Head over to patreon.com/Erotic Awakening today and get your bonus content and support the show.
Hi, Dawn.
Hi, Dan.
So I am really surprised that we're doing a podcast on how to give a better blowjob. I thought you gave a pretty good blowjob as it is. Does it get better?
It gets better, but I think I'm more than pretty good, but maybe.
Well, I have. Well, okay, I can't say I've got nothing to compare it to.
You've got a lot to compare it to. You don't have to compare me. I think I'm pretty good.
You are pretty good.
So we don't have to compare partner to partner.
Well, how else then are we going to talk about how to suck cock?
So we can still figure it out, but I did find a link, or you found a link at Bad Girls Bible on how to suck cock like a porn star.
And did you read it?
I did, and it was actually pretty interesting. We foreshadowed this show like 5 weeks ago, and then we had to skip 2 weeks, and we'll talk about that later. But I was reading it. Part of me resisted reading it because you know me. I don't want to take workshops on blowjobs. I've talked about this on the show before.
Yeah.
I don't want to take workshops on blowjobs. I don't feel like I need to learn more like techniques, like where to lick and where to touch and where to twist or stroke or whatever. To me, I think the biggest skill that you can learn, which I teach in my Zoom classes, is mindfulness. And I think if you have mindfulness of what you are focused on and you can listen to the person's body, you can figure out what each individual person likes.
Yep, I totally agree with that. And as you said, we've been teaching that for years. And okay, well, next topic then.
No, so I read this article thinking that's what I was going to read. And instead, it was a little bit different. So I do know about these things and I do some of these things. And I'm kind of nervous about asking you how much you like them or don't like them. This is kind of like, test Dawn's knowledge of of Dan's likes and dislikes about blowjobs after 6 years or whatever, 25, 26, 20. I think the first blowjob I gave you was like 27 years ago.
It was not recent, that's for
in
sure.
a soccer park. In a car.
I'm glad that it stood out for you. It stood out for me too.
Absolutely.
So we do have some tips that we're going to talk about from the Bad Girls Bible, and we're going to actually talk about how we feel about those. What is the first tip?
So or
am I asking you about these tips?
No, I'll ask you if you don't mind.
Okay.
So the first one that they mention is that the blower, the person giving the blowjob, should take the initiative. Do you like it when people take the initiative for the blowjob?
And for people that are new to the podcast or don't know us, in general, you are the giver and I am the receiver when it comes to blowjobs. So
yes.
You, in this scenario, you are the blower.
I am the blower. You are the blowee.
Yeah, I absolutely like it when the blower takes the initiative if they are skillful about it. Not in a particularly, oh God, this is going to be a weird segue, but you and I went to a titty bar once, many, many years ago.
Yes.
And one of the dancers, they were, they're doing what they do. They're strutting their stuff. They're flirting, trying to make tips. And one of them came up to me and was dancing in my face. Okay, that's fine. But she kind of like grabbed my shirt and pulled me into her.
Oh, I remember her.
And I was really not digging that aggressive vibe.
Yeah, I kind of growled at her.
So, yeah, I do like it when the blower takes the initiative because you don't want something that just people are doing it because you want them to do it. You want them to be enthusiastic as well, as long as they're not overly aggressive. Being my point.
Good. That may answer another one a little bit further down too.
Okay.
So, but taking the initiative, so you were okay with that. So if they're into it, that gets you into it a little bit more, that sort of thing, right?
Absolutely.
As long as they're not too aggressive. Okay, well, that's cool. But the next one is, and this is not the one I was thinking of, the next one is animalistic enthusiasm.
I can see why that is on the list. Go try it with people. Great. Not my thing for a blowjob.
Yeah?
I like my blowjob more to be a worshipful service
Mm.
more than a animalistic intent. But that's just me. But
Okay.
I think it's a legit something that people should try. Sure.
I have been with people that like the animalistic enthusiasm. They
Good.
like the growling, they like the that sort of thing. Now you like noises.
Absolutely.
So, oh, noises of appreciation, maybe, sort of thing.
Or just natural
Just
noises,
natural
the
noises
ums and
of,
ahs.
yes, I love the ums and ahs. What about being talked dirty to?
That's another noise that I like. Yeah, absolutely. As long as it doesn't feel too scripted, and certainly you and I have taught May a class on talking dirty.
hmm
But absolutely, yeah, absolutely throw that in there for
So,
sure.
so my first thought when I read that though was, how are you talking to them if you're giving a blowjob? But I
Between
get
licks,
it.
perhaps.
Between licks.
Yeah.
But isn't that cool? Is if they look up at you and when we talk about when we do our class on talking naughty or talking dirty, some people are like, "Well, I don't know what to say."
Mm-hmm.
You can literally say what you are doing to the person or what you have just done.
Yes.
Right? You don't even have to think of future things of what I'd like to do to you or anything like that. You can literally pull your face off of their cock and say, I just licked your cock. And
Mm-hmm.
just saying those words,
Yeah.
that's,
Absolutely. Keep it simple.
yep, keep it simple. Okay. And then there is let him do the driving, as in put his hands on your head.
Yeah, I call that a good old skull fucking, and
Yes.
hell yeah, I will get into that space. Yeah, certainly as things progress, right? That's definitely where I end up going. Probably.
Skull fucking.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so another suggestion is turn the tables on him, take control and dominate him.
Certainly would work for some people. Would only work first off, it would for me personally. Absolutely. Now that to be clear, people that give blowjobs, give this a try. It may well work for that partner of yours. For me, if you say I'm going to dominate you, that's not going to work for me. That's not going to give the right vibe. But to say just relax and let me run the thing, let me do this to you, that's different. That I can handle once in a while.
Not like the aggressive stripper that
Exactly.
grabbed you by the shirt collar and stared into your
Right.
eyes like.
You'll take my mouth, damn you.
So here's another one ball pulling.
Yes, absolutely out there, people. Go ahead and try that. I think nearly every partner I've ever had that's given me a blowjob has done some form of ball fondling, ball pulling, ball stroking, pretending they're a pair of dice and rattling around in your hands. And sometimes it works for me, but sometimes not. As a blowjob giver, feel free to try all those things, find out what works for the person. For me, I just have a terrible time telling anyone, oh, I want you to do that thing because sometimes it works for me and sometimes it just does not. And most of the time, I don't even think about it.
Yeah, see, and I don't even try with you anymore with that because at the beginning, it was very much just not your thing.
And so here's another tip I'm going to give to blowjob givers
hmm
based on that. If you've been giving somebody a blowjob for 27 years, try some new stuff. You don't know what they might like nowadays.
I might start pulling then. Let's see what happens.
Gently. Let's start gently.
So there is a trick with ball pulling though, is to remember not to squeeze,
Mm-hmm.
not to twist. Don't twist because you have things attached in there. So, unless that is what they are asking for or have experience with.
That might be a different scene altogether.
Yes. Prostate massage.
I've certainly had a partner or two try variations on that, and I've never really gotten to the point of where I enjoyed it. And that is over decades.
Yeah.
And it just, it's either they've just not gotten there or I've got my own little blockage. Good gosh, everybody, male bodied people that have tried this, they all say, oh, it's the greatest thing ever. And I just I haven't gotten there yet. Hopefully, before my days are over, we'll get a good one yet.
Yeah. So I do know of some people that like it. We've actually seen a prostate massage before in someone's personal dungeon. But no one I've been with has that been their
I was
thing.
just going to ask you if you've ever given one.
No, no, not. I've done a knuckle thing before, but it's not like it's from the outside.
Uh huh.
So I've done that like right under the
Sure.
balls. There's a little knot there, but nothing. Yeah, no one I've been with has been interested in
Taoist
trying that.
Taoist sexual kung fu calls that the $1,000,000 point.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. Just interesting side note.
Yes. And then the last one that I put on here, now she's got like 29, and some are ones that fall under these main topics,
Okay.
right? Of just different ways of doing things. But most of them fall into these categories. So the
Okay.
last one is get sloppy, involve gagging. So, how do you feel about a sloppy blowjob
Sure.
or
Hell yeah.
gagging?
Hell yeah. Let's do that. I'm absolutely down for that. Specifically, if there's gagging, but that's not a giving up gagging.
Right.
And I will tell you, and this is going to be very strange, oh listeners, so you might want to just skip forward a few moments. I was once with someone who their perspective was that my cock was so gigambus that in trying to deep throat me, it caused them to retch and actually throw up a little bit on me. And for some reason, I don't like being thrown up on. That's a kink some people have. It's not my kink. Yet, I can't help but enjoy the experience overall of saying, it was so huge that it made them throw up. I don't know why. I'm glad. I hope most of the listeners did skip over that because it just sounds funny saying it out loud.
See, and do you know the best way, the easiest way to make it a sloppy blowjob?
Fill your mouth full of a Wendy's
No.
frozen drink first.
Oh.
Those
Why isn't
frosties.
that on here? The temperature play. No, but if a cock hits the back of the throat, it does cause a gag reflex, which causes mouth slobber.
Oh,
So, yeah. So if it hits, or at least on me, if it hits the back of my throat, it causes mouth slobber. So if things are kind of like dry to begin with, because I actually have like dry mouth,
mm-hmm.
right? It is hard for me to get enough wet. But if you hit the back of my throat, all that slobber starts, and it is going to be
Okay.
a sloppy blowjob.
A funny thing, if you go into the archives of the website, sometime within the last between 2 and 8 years, I apologize, that's the best I can get you at the moment. I did a podcast interview with a girl and her partner, and she was a big giving blowjob enthusiast. So much so that she would like go to swing clubs and give everybody a blowjob and wanted to be the best blowjob giver. And
I remember that, and it's going to be closer to 8 years ago.
yeah, I can remember where I did it. But so really kind of, really interesting interview. And I really couldn't quite wrap my head around what the thing, but who cares? I don't need to wrap my head around it. It was a good interview. And then the interview's over and she's like, "So, do you want a blowjob?" And I'm like, and I checked. No, I didn't. And that's always been a really weird thing in my head to go back over that. And it's so funny that it's pretty fucking hilarious. Throughout the course of us running around, presenting, doing interviews, and all this kind of stuff, I've been offered a number of blowjobs that just didn't, having a blowjob from a stranger just doesn't do it for me. It's just such a weird thing. I guess, yeah, I don't know what to make of that, but I just thought of that story. It was just kind of funny.
It is kind of funny. And I'm looking back on, I typed in blowjobs
Uh huh.
on our podcast archive list, and we did Forced Blowjob with Anti Vice back in 22. We did Passion and Jobs of Blow back in 2017. Talked about blowjobs in 2013 and 2012. That her, just by typing in blowjob, she's not showing up
Oh,
on
that's
here, but
interesting.
I know we interviewed her.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
remember where it was as well. So it would have been since 2012. and I am not seeing it.
It's
Wow,
super
we've talked
interesting.
about
Yeah,
blowjobs more
we
than I
should go
thought we
back.
did.
We should go listen to EA. What is that? 017?
017,
First
May
time we
of
talked about blowjob.
2009.
Let's not go and listen to that.
Yeah, yeah, there's another one from 2010, another one from 2010. Did you know the podcast? I keep advertising that the podcast is 15 years old.
Uh-huh.
On February 9th, which is like in a couple of weeks, it will turn 16.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So, wow.
Old enough
Yes.
to drive, not old enough to drink.
Oh, yeah. So cool.
If you would like to break my habit of not allowing people I barely know to give me blowjobs, you can find us at a variety of events in the upcoming months.
Indeed. So, in a couple of weeks, no, next week, we will be at Apex in Phoenix.
And then later, we will be in February in Intrigue in Indianapolis.
In March, it's Kinky College in Chicago.
And in June, it's Tulsa for the Scissortail Leather Conference.
And we have more that we're talking to. So keep up with all our events, book news, discounts, and more via the Erotic Awakening newsletter.
And get your EA shout out like Mark in Oregon.
Head over to eroticawakening.com and subscribe today.
So we had the good fortune of going to Columbus, Ohio, and presenting at the inaugural for in Columbus. They're called Cure. And Father Michael and Grizzly did a wonderful job of bringing events back to Columbus, Ohio. It was just great. Everything's ran, and of course we don't know in the background what it looks like, but from a participant and presenter, it was a fantastic event.
Indeed. So it was kind of cool. I mean, I had a blast. I mean, I'm going to tell you now, part of that is because that's our stomping grounds. That's our home stomping grounds. We lived there our whole time, except during the last few years that we've been RVing on the road. Our whole kink journey, power exchange journey, poly journey started in Columbus, and we were there for over 2 decades, right? So that's our home stomping grounds. So it was wonderful to see so many people that we knew and to meet so many people that we didn't know. Our classes went amazing. We had amazing response to our classes. I got to play with people. I got to play with someone that totally took me by surprise. Holy cow. A few people got to see that one and go, what the fuck? Because they didn't expect to see that at all. And then I played with someone from Chicago. I played it with a cutie from there. We did wax play and animal energy, animalistic rah, 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 play. I did fire with Penny Girl for the first time, and she and Marker have been doing fire in Columbus for years and years and years, and I'm always either too busy or their line is too long, and I just happened to time it just right that no one was in line. So I got to experience fire
But
with
not,
her.
but not ginger in
Not
your butt.
no ginger in my butt. That is something that they do workshops on all the time. Though you have put ginger in my recently as a test. So great event.
And I got to do the auction as well, which is the live auction is always
right.
big, a lot of fun for me, and was really happy to see how well it went. Hopefully, with that helped a little bit of the fundraiser aspect of keeping Cure financially healthy and ready to come back next year.
Absolutely. So I am going to put that event near the top of the list of ones that I would recommend for next year, if not at the top of the list. There's two right now that I would put at the top of the list, and they're ones that we've been to in the last couple of months.
You know what's funny about Cure? One of the classes they asked us to present was Introduction to BDSM, and you and I were both a little bit.
We have not taught that.
You know,
Just like years.
I don't know. I don't know that we were like, oh, we're Dan and Dawn. What are you teaching
No,
us
but
rookie shit?
we're more power exchange and polyamory and
Right,
sacred
right, you
sexuality.
know.
We haven't taught that. Yeah.
But it was a
No, I haven't.
fantastic class. It went so well, and there were so many new people. They were very
Yes.
appreciative of getting their feet wet in a friendly manner, so that if you guys remember when you were new, stuff can be kind of scary. So it was nice to give them that gentle introduction to, this stuff's not scary.
We kept that fun and upbeat and yes, had a great time with that. So yeah, I would highly recommend that. I know some people did not go this year because it was a first time event
Hmm.
and they wanted to see if it was going to be okay and worth their money next year. And I would have to say thumbs up.
Absolutely.
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 Yeah.
And from there, Don, I am going to change what we discussed a little bit because it is from that area.
Mm,
If you've heard on the podcast, often we will mention Ohio Hedgehog, who is often sending us links and interesting news stories and all that kind of stuff. We just want to remark how sad we are to hear of his recent passing. And we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about that today.
because we're still processing
We're
it.
still
So
processing. Good friend of yours, Don, and certainly somebody
yes.
I've known, and somebody who was known in that Columbus community for many years.
So indeed, I
So,
would make sure to have lunch with him every time we visited
absolutely.
Columbus.
Yep. So just take a moment, people, and look around yourselves and recognize this was not somebody who was in bad shape or was
No.
sick or anything at all. It's just we humans are fragile. Keep that in mind and hug the people around you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So he will absolutely be missed. All right, so let's roll from that into a question of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. So someone was asking us, my understanding was, we make mention on occasion of these things that we call flirt cards. And the people are like, well, what the fuck is a flirt card? And so what it is that you and I, and especially me, but you and I are somewhat of flirts in general. I am a big flirt. And it is it's a business card. It's got our picture on it. It's
Hmm.
got our contact information on it. And that's it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it's and the reason we do it as a couple, that's how we've done it, over the years, is that it is a single card with, like you said, with our picture on it of us laughing
Hmm.
and having a good time,
Hmm.
and each of our contact information on one card. And the reason we do that is because sometimes when you're flirting, you want that other person to know that yes, you have a partner, but I am very aware as to what's going on, and here's my info.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So we put a picture on there so they remember what the hell we look like.
Hmm. Yeah, you and I actually, there's times where I interact and where I flirt with people that are poly aware,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe just barely poly aware. Like they're familiar with the concept, but they don't actually know anybody who practices it, or they have some misconceptions about it. Or, and the one thing that I'm really leaning towards is I want to be able to walk up to somebody who I'm flirting with and say, look, I'd love to get to know you better and give them my contact information in such a way that I'm being super clear. Yes, I have other partners as well. Yes, feel free to reach out to those other partners if you want to. Here's their contact information. There's nothing sneaky going on. I'm not cheating on anybody.
Right.
And it's really a great way to vet a potential partner. Talk to their other partners and say, well, what is he fun to hang out with? Do you enjoy time with him? I got no problem with that idea.
Well, and then there's two things that I like about our flirt cards in that one of them is I'm handing that person my contact information
Hmm.
and not asking them for their contact information,
Yes.
which can put people on the spot,
Hmm.
right? I'm like, you know what? I would love to follow up with you. Here's my contact information. Feel free to write me.
Yep.
Right. And the other thing that I like is on the flirt cards. Now, on our business cards, we use up all the real estate on the card, front and
Hmm.
back.
Sure.
Right. Front's got all the contact information, the logo, the blah, blah, blah. The back is all the things that we do. With the flirt card, usually we keep the back plain,
Hmm.
and that's so people can write notes on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, so the front smiling face, and again, we do it as a couple. You could absolutely do it as a single, as a throuple, as a, whatever, however you want to design yours. Put a picture of you on there so they can remember who you are.
Yeah.
Leave the back of it blank. Only put the person that was asking me the question was like, well, do I put my phone number on there? Do I put my email address? And I'm like, how much contact info do you want them to have? For me, I put my Fetlife name and my email,
Yep.
the email that I check the most.
Yes.
actually, right? Because I have like 10 emails. So I put the one that I check the most. That is very generic, right? It's not like it's my LinkedIn,
Hmm.
email address. It's my generic one and my Fetlife name. And there you go. And by putting my Fetlife name on there, they can get to my profile and learn a whole lot more about me.
Hmm.
So, yes, I love our flirt cards. So, thank you for asking.
Yep. Other than that, Dawn, I do not understand what I'm reading here. I have not seen it.
You've not seen it. Okay. So, tentacles and food on boobs. So, let me get you to this tentacle one that I'm talking about, which is on our Discord channel
Hmm.
in the spot for
Oh, well, there you
patrons.
go.
And see it in the spot for patrons. There's a not safe for work section where people put the tentacle pictures that
Uh-huh.
join this. And Enigma sent one. So the note you did not understand was the tentacle ear fucking.
Yes, this is exactly what the note says. Tentacle ear fucking.
Yes. And that is exactly what it is. There is
Yes,
nothing but a face and a girl getting fucked in the ears with tentacles.
that is exactly what that is.
And then it goes on to say that this is from Enigma. And then it goes on to say that he made up for that picture
Okay.
or GIF, I guess it is, by sending this picture, which is a hot chick with a hood over her head
Uh-huh.
and a black hood over her head. She's sitting in the mist, and then black tentacles coming out of the mist wrapped around her leg.
Pretty hot.
Yeah, that's just hot. So, indeed. So,
And with
wait. I
yes.
think yes, someone had something in FET that was booby food. As in, it was like whipped cream on the
Hmm.
boobs with strawberries on the nipples, and it was from someone that we know in Columbus. I think
Oh,
I think she's also a patron.
well, I
So,
better go find that.
absolutely.
You can be a part of the Erotic Awakening podcast community.
You can support us on Patreon and get early access to the ad-free version of the podcast, a free version of the audiobook, polyamory toolkit, free ebooks, discounts on monthly Zoom classes, member-only Discord access, and more.
Find all the goodies at patreon.com/eroticawakening today.
Help others find us. Take a moment to support the podcast. Rate us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Or just tell your friends.
Join the conversation with us and other listeners. Use the links from the Erotic Awakening website for our growing Discord channel.
Feel free to reach out to us. We love talking to you.
Contact us with questions, podcast comments, or just to say hi.
We are Dan and Dawn on Fetlife.
And Erotic Awakening on Instagram.
Or just email us at dananddawn@eroticawakening.com.
Bye, Dan.
Bye, Dawn.